Hello everyone and welcome to In the Lounge. Joining me tonight, the ridiculousness himself, when does he sleep, the beast of burden of editing, Redbeast.
Hey, that's me.
So Redbeast, how are you doing tonight? Pardon our mess, we're kind of still recovering from the pun apocalypse last episode, but on the plus side, the bartender and I have both recovered and only one of us is an alcoholic now.
Is that what all the blood's about? What the Oh my god, why be the ceiling? What did...
Listen, there's a big hole, it's nothing. You can see the stars, it's pretty. We're gonna put a skylight over it.
What the fuck did Brett do in here?
Bread existed in here is what happened. It's fine, everything's fine. So now that we've gotten our introductions out of the way, I'm just gonna roll right into the questions and start getting them flowing and bring us into happy hour.
Yeah.
How much of the editing you do is typically in the script that you're given?
Most of the projects I'm involved in, I'm also involved in the writing process, which I think is a good thing. That allows me to see what clips the writers had in mind when they initially came up with a joke or lines. That way I know, okay, this facial expression, this scene, this background. So for a majority of the projects I'm in, I do all the editing. So that's basic background edits, lip flaps, visual effects, and I lost track of the question. I'm sorry, what was that again?
How much of that is written into the script?
Oh, okay. Like the visual effects portion and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It varies. I know for a series like Durarara Bridge that I do, there's a lot of detail into the script where it's like, okay, we're going to need his eyes to shrink. Okay, have this character do this. Whereas in Digimon, a lot of it's more on the fly and I want to say loose, because sometimes I notice something in editing in terms of an animation error that I didn't notice before that I need to fix. Or sometimes I just need to impose a character into a new background because we just don't have the footage for it. So a lot of the times it's just making up as I go along. I remember back in when I first started with Ranma 1/2, I would just say fuck the script and just do any kind of edit I saw just at the opportunity.
Right. What do you think is your favorite edit that you've done that was improvised by you? It was a visual joke that you didn't, it wasn't written, you just did it.
I'll have to narrow it down to my top two.
That's fine.
My two, because one of them isn't on YouTube anymore because of complications with copyright.
I gotcha.
Ranma 1/2 Abridged, I want to say it was episode 12 or 13. If you're familiar with Ranma 1/2, it's when he's fighting the Golden Pair, which is... In Ranma 1/2, there's an ongoing joke that martial arts is anything goes. There's martial arts ice skating, martial arts gymnastics, martial arts goddamn figure skating. There's martial arts tea ceremony. I love this show.
It's a good show.
Oh yeah. But they were fighting a pair of ice skaters and they were thrown into the air and Ranma kind of just collided into a wall and a big crater is made. Now, that was it. But what I decided to do that no one else knew, and everyone in the team was coming over that day to view a draft that was essentially going to be the final version. So I decided, what the hell? So as soon as Ranma just collides with the wall, blood splatter, giant mess. I probably overdid it, and it looked like 2/3 of his blood just exploded just right at that moment.
He just died.
And the best part about that, it was never in the script, and one of our friends was just looking at his phone at the time, glances up at the exact moment where Ranma impacts into the wall, and he is just, oh my god, what the fuck? And the, yeah, that was fun. The second improvised edit is actually one I discussed in a behind the scenes recently. It's Digimon Abridged episode 2, where Tentomon and Izzy are just walking for about 12 seconds, but there was only about 3 to 5 seconds of footage, and there was no actual loop point.
Ooh.
What followed is my favorite edit session I ever had, because not only did I have to go frame by frame and get the smallest possible segment of that background to create an infinite looping background, that took me 6 hours. And I didn't even notice. And I had a job interview the next day that I decided, fuck it, I'm not going to this. Because that was to a news network. And I realized, nah, with the current situation with politics, I don't want to do news, I want to do visual effects. So I started applying to visual effects houses in New York City. That scene made me realize I'm making a wrong decision in my life.
Well, I think the people you work with would be glad that you decided to make that decision. So what would you say the most important things to an editor are?
Patience? I have to say patience is the big one, because a lot of people ask me like how I do my edits. I'd have to say patience is just the big thing. Like, a lot of these edits just take time. I mean, yeah, we all want fast results, but sometimes you just gotta sit down at a keyboard for fucking 6 hours and just do the hard work. I also have to say stubbornness, just because sometimes I want to give up on an effect. It's like, god damn it. But no, the joke doesn't work without this effect. It must be done.
And I know, like, patience especially is a big one, because, like, most of even the, like, effects that I do are, like, it's not a matter of it's hard to do, because anybody can, like, redraw a thing. It just takes time. It's tedious more than it is difficult.
Exactly. It gives that illusion of difficulty.
Have you ever done a really difficult edit that had such an easy solution that you felt like an idiot afterwards?
Oh my god, my brother Storm Sage, he does this to me all the fucking time. Like, I'll be like spending 3 hours on a fucking effect, and he just walks in, sees what I'm doing, and just looks at me confused, just goes, "Why didn't you try this?" And then I get so fucking mad, because that makes so much more sense. Oh, yeah, that happens so goddamn often.
It happens, like, enough times that there's not a specific instance you could think of. It's just like, yeah, I'm just an idiot in general.
I'm trying to think of a specific instance, but it's happened enough times for him to walk in and just assume I'm doing things the hard way. Like, he just assumes I'm doing each effect the most difficult way I can think of.
Yeah, I had one of those recently where, like, I realized that, like, instead of, I don't remember what it was some kind of like lip flap thing where I suddenly realized that instead of transplanting everything possible from this one thing, I could have just done all of it at once and made it 3 frames instead of like 12 individual frames.
Yes, that's when I had
and just
too.
use fucking masking.
Yeah, that's when I had.
I'm an idiot.
I remember one time I was like trying to do this complicated tracking shot, but like the footage wasn't giving me, like, a lot of the times there's a lot of motion in a scene, I just do motion tracking, but I was having issues because like for some reason my tracker was just like, nope, fuck you today. And Storm just walks in and just says, why don't you just make like the entire scene was probably just the size of 2 complete scenes.
Right.
And he just goes, why don't you just make the screen wider and just stitch them together at the seam and just pan with keyframes. And it was like, god damn it, that
yeah, that is smarter.
That fixes everything. Fuck my life.
Right. How did you get into D&D? I know that you are on a show for Abridgilliance with your brother and Coffin Jockey.
Again, like everything in my life, I have to blame Storm.
That's fair.
I
imagine if I ever get him on the show, he'll blame you for a lot of things.
He will. Because, you know, twins. We're both big into Dragon Age Origins, Inquisition, and he had this video apparently in his YouTube feed for the longest time. It was from Geek and Sundry. It was the playthrough of a Dragon Age campaign. He watched a bit of it. I don't remember his thoughts on it, but because he watched that, he had Critical Role in his feed forever, and eventually he gave it like, fine, I'll watch this. It's like hours long. I'll just give it a shot. Oh. And then he proceeded to bug me for a fucking month to watch it. And I was just like, dude, I'm not interested. It's hours long. When am I going to get the time? And he's just like,
I know the feeling.
And he's just like giving me small spoilers like about Pussy, about Grog, because he knows I'm a sucker for Travis Willingham. I was like, you know what? I'm in the middle of a massive edit session. Upon as background noise. Not any editing got done that day.
Yeah, that's exactly the same. Like, I started Critical Role this summer, or the like year and a half that I was unemployed out in California, and like I binged that shit. Like, I didn't get anything done while I was watching it. And even once I got home and got to an editing computer again, it was like 90% of the time when I was like, I'd put it on to like edit, and it wouldn't happen. I would give up on that immediately.
Dude, I'm on the East Coast, so it's impossible for me to catch it live. So I'm just like,
right.
It just absorbs my Fridays. But like shortly after that, I found out that Coffin plays, and he offered to teach me in Storm, and now I just bug him nonstop with Pathfinder questions. Like, dude, I'm sorry. Like, I sincerely am concerned that I just bug him sometimes. Last night I messaged him like, yo, can I play a chicken? Like, I just got this idea of a sorcerer chicken, like the most powerful fucking chicken in the world.
And Coffin's like, I mean, sure, I guess. Or he straight up tell you, no, fuck off.
His response was to link me a Pathfinder page that listed the stats of chickens. That's not technically a no. Best part is chickens are 5 pounds, and sorcerers can cast Mage Hand, which can lift anything up to 5 pounds. So now it's got this.
Chickens can lift themselves.
Exactly. And now it's got this image in my hand of a floating chicken from a spectral hand.
You ride upon your hand-shaped steed as a chicken.
Exactly. But yeah, in our Pathfinder game, I'm playing Half-Dragon Paladin, and that's fucking awesome. That, oh god, Coffin's just a fucking madman. He's a genius. I love it. Oh god, I'm so disappointed I didn't find this game sooner.
It's good shit. How would you describe your relationship with your brother, both personally and professionally?
He's my identical twin brother, and I can safely say he's my best friend. When I was younger, I was going through some rough shit with some bullying, and I can say that he absolutely was one of the things that kept me sane and kept me together through that. So yeah, twins, that goes deep.
Right. How about like professionally? How do you work with him?
Oh my god. I would not have I would not have a good script if it wasn't for him. Like I frequently phrase it that I'm just throwing shit at the wall, but he's the one that compresses it into a diamond. Like I'll come up with a good line or a good concept, but he'll be always the one to give it the extra kick that really makes it hilarious.
Right. So he's kind of like your he's like a script editor basically.
No, not really. I mean, he's there for the edit set and for the scripting sessions. He comes up with a majority of... The best way I can phrase it is he comes up with good character traits and dialogue. Every now and then I get a good idea for a situation or a good line, but most of my jokes are usually visual humor while he's great at character dynamics.
Right, and that's important for a script that, like, a lot of people, and I see this, like, too often where characters are just kind of like one-liner machines, and that's not, I mean, that can be funny, but it's not like great writing.
Also, writers out there, keep in mind flow and pacing. Don't let your scenes drag on too long, and if a scene is just becoming nothing but just one joke after another, mix it up a bit. See how you can advance your story. Storm always keeps stuff like that in mind. We were actually working on a script recently where it's like, this is funny, but how can we make it funnier? And we just scrapped everything we had and just Storm's, I can't remember what it was, but Storm said one thing that was like, yes, that, we're building the entire scene around that. This is fucking amazing now. So yeah, he's the reason for my success in terms of being able to work on funny projects.
All right, now let's get on to some audience questions. Let me warn you, there are quite a few. I'm almost positive that peaked, but whatevs.
I leaned backwards so it wouldn't peak.
Okay. I'm glad you thought of that, unlike some people on this show.
It looks like a dick in the waveform.
It's me. Oh boy, that's the best. From Neo Minister on Twitter, how did you come up with your username?
Oh, this is embarrassing. Back in high school, I had an unfortunate reputation of having, I had an issue with anger control back then, which I have since conquered, I'm sorry. But because of that, people thought it was funny to piss me off and, you know, make fun of me and get me mad. There was this one sophomore who did it almost religiously, and the easiest way to get me mad was to insult my friends. He does that, and then proceed to a Beverly Hills style, this run around of the gymnasium of him running around, me chasing him, gym teacher chasing me. And that just is like, people said, and I always wore red because that's the identifier between me and my twin brother. Ted was red. So people saying it was just like a red angry blur of mass. So people saying, hey, that's a red beast right there. And that nickname lasted about 3 days. But within those 3 days, I made my YouTube account. So that's just sort of how it happened.
I gotcha.
Not the most dignified way I came up with my username, but...
It's there. Everybody's got a story.
Yeah. Mine reflects on a angrier period in my life.
Well, I think you can look back on that now. And, like, you can look back on it and laugh, and that's the important thing, I think.
Oh, yeah. Younger me was a dickhead.
I think we were all dickheads when we were teenagers.
Absolutely.
Let's not.
Yeah. I blame them hormones.
Yeah, it's definitely the hormones.
Yeah.
From It's the Slime on Twitter, how old were you when you started, doing editing seriously?
Actually, I know this exactly. I started in 2008, so I was about 15, 16. Basically what happened is a friend of ours showed us, I think it was episode 3 or 4 of Naruto Abridged, and I caught the bug. Storm and I made our first script, and the original plan was for Storm to edit the series. But because Storm did so much in the scripting session, he came up with all the best stuff. I felt like I wasn't contributing, so I was like, I'll edit. And then it's all been downhill from there. But in high school, that's when I started learning Final Cut Pro, and then shortly after that, Adobe, and then it just absorbed my life.
Yeah, and that kind of leads into the next question, too, from Cobra Whiskey Yum on Twitter. What first inspired you to be an editor?
Inadequacy. I'm kidding. It was just by chance, honestly, because I saw that and I wanted to contribute to this thing me and my brother were making. I just decided, I guess I'll be the editor. I'll try this. And slowly but surely, I started learning more about what I can do with video editing, and I want to keep pushing that. So it just pieces kept stacking on top of pieces, and I was just like, I can do so much with this, and I just started experimenting more. I also was inspired by Cordo Digital, Freddie W, and Andrew Kramer. Like those, I actually got a chance to meet I got a chance to meet all of them at the NAB one year, and it was just like, I got a chance to meet my heroes, and it was just like,
That's about it. That's a pretty accurate noise, I feel.
Yeah, I think that is the inner sound of, it's like a squee, but more manly. Like, like all the excitement just inverts into you, and you just implode.
The pterodactyl squee.
Yes. Yes.
What has been your favorite series to work on?
Oh, God. Oh, how could you? Oh.
Make you choose one of your children and shoot the rest.
Oh, man. It's a toss-up between Digimon and Durarara. Absolutely. See, that sucks, because I just started working with Disaster on Fairy Tail, and that was amazing. And I've been working on the schmucks with Akame. But yeah.
Well, like, what things do you like about them individually? Because I know each one is probably a different beast to tackle, especially since I think all 4 of those have different writers.
Yeah. I'm going to have to say to be completely honest, I'm going to have to say Durarara and Digimon are my favorites, because just the 2 separate tones we do with those things. Digimon is more crazy and free, and it has a special place in my heart since Digimon is one of my all-time favorite shows growing up. But Durarara is currently in my top 3 of my favorite anime, and it's just so much fun just working on those 2 different shows. Yeah, I guess the freedom and just craziness with Digimon, I mean, I fucking gave Mimi a gun. That was so much fun. But with Durarara, I get to play Shizuru, and he's just an utter badass. I love casting Durarara just as much as I do with Digimon, and just I like playing in that world of Durarara because there's so much fucked up shit we can play with.
Yeah, Durarara, that's one of my favorite shows, honestly. Like, when I first started watching it thinking like this could be fun, and then I like marathoned it, and the second season wasn't completely out yet, so I actually like caught the end of it basically is when I started watching it, and it's a really fun one, and I liked Baccano too, so I think I just like that writer.
Oh yeah, Durarara's spiritual successor, and funny thing is, I wasn't getting Durarara the first 5 or so episodes. I was like, okay, you've been in this situation before with Rurouni Kenshin, which is your number 1. Sometimes it takes a couple episodes to get going. Sure enough, I hit episode 10, and I'm just like, yes, I'm in.
Yeah, it kind of sucks when those, because like people will say things like if your show takes 10 episodes to get going, it's not worth watching, and I
disagree.
Like 90% of the time, I don't feel like that's true.
Yeah.
Like even if a show is really good in its first episode, it can still taper off.
I mean, Durarara
I don't see any reason why the opposite can't be true also.
Durarara is literally the perfect example of that, because within those first 10 episodes, not a lot of connecting story is happening, but it's doing the world building. I actually had this conversation with Buddy VA. We actually had to recast Masaomi in our series, and he was saying how he didn't really stick with the series after like 3 episodes. I told him, dude, trust me, it gets better. It gets amazing.
Yeah, a thing like Durarara, and that's, I think, like, my favorite thing about it is how, like, it tells all these individual stories of people, and then when they start coming together, it's just, like, amazing the way that they pull it off. But it takes the legwork to get there. For that payoff, you need to have everything set up beforehand. You can't just do it.
Especially with how they introduce every character, though not the character you're expecting. Like, you remember the character Seiji?
Yes.
When he first walked into the classroom, said, I'm not going to be here, I have something I must do, walks out, thought, he clearly has some kind of heroic quest he has to do. I was fucking wrong. But I got the character completely fucking wrong. And then there's Isaiah, holy shit.
Literally, Isaiah is the one anime character who I just absolutely hate. Because he's just a piece of shit for the sake of being a piece of shit.
I love that about him. I love to hate Isaiah.
He's such a good character, but I fucking hate him.
Don't you just love that when, like, God, I hate you, and that was the intention.
Yeah, I have literally the same feeling about, from the newest Danganronpa game, Oma he's a piece of shit, and he's such a good character within that setting, but God, I hate him. He's such a little garbage boy.
Those are the characters where if you met them in real life, you would actually contemplate murder.
I would absolutely think, like, nope, I'm never speaking to you or hopefully looking at you ever again. I'm glad we turned this into a Durarara cast. From Dark Mood on Discord, what's the hardest editing job you've had?
You know what? I'm going to have to say it was this independent film I worked on. It was called The Beast, and I just saw that, like, looking for a visual effects editor for a short film, The Beast. I was like, I'm so fucking on that this is going to be my first freelance gig. It's so perfect. I'm Redbeast. This film's called The Beast. A monster movie? Fuck yeah. It wasn't a monster movie. It was a interesting piece about a girl who cuts herself. So yeah, there was that.
Wasn't quite what you were expecting.
No, but there is throughout the film I'm doing like minor visual effects, like removing logos from shirts, fixing like wires wires for mics you can see in people's pockets. I mean, that stuff's not really complicated, just again what we talked about, time consuming.
Yeah, because you gotta do that shit frame by frame.
And unlike in animation, you gotta make sure it looks real. Like in animation, you can get away with a lot if it doesn't look 100% real in terms of animation.
Right,
but in live action,
live action is a whole different beast, I imagine.
Oh yeah.
Not to make a pun here, or
just wait for it. The final effects of the movie is like, throughout this entire time in the film, the girl has these flashes of some kind of monster, which is how she views herself. And the final shot is just the beast. We see all of it just hold up, except it's supposed to be covered in fur and like hair. But what they filmed was a dude in a massive, like, great, very well done makeup, a big
with no hair.
No, he had hair on top, but bare chest, bare legs, flesh tone underwear, and there was like the only instruction I was given was fix this. I was like, lady, ma'am, be a bit more specific, because I don't know the rating here. Do you want me to give that thing a dick? What? So he's covered with hair.
I hope you gave it a dick anyway.
I didn't. That would have been so amazing. The director's cut.
I feel like you would have definitely been fired for that.
I would have. But what followed was me just figuring out how to fucking make hair for this thing, until I discovered that there was an effect in After Effects called CC hair. Kill me.
That sounds very, very useful.
Very situational. I found the one situation that effect is useful in. But I also had to add masking, some warp displacement to make it look real, lighting, shading. There was minor 3D elements involved. But yeah, that one effect was the biggest crutch I was dealing with, and it's to date probably the biggest thing I've ever done. I can say one other thing in terms of abridging. The intro sequence to Durarara Abridged. For those of you who haven't seen it, we have a 3D model of a city that the camera just goes through.
Why are you like this?
That's a good question.
That's not one of the audience questions. That's just me like sighing and going, This wasn't. You didn't have to do this.
I wanted to. My favorite response to that was a comment on the episode that premiered. It's just like, why did this episode take so long? See his intro. All right, fail.
Yeah, you got me. I understand why it took so long.
What
is your dream project, abridged or not?
I'm actually doing it. Digimon Abridged. Every time, like, Storm and I would always talk. Just like we had such fun memories of Digimon and what we could do with it. And it was like, man, one day we'll know the right cast. One day we'll be good enough to do that. We'll be able to make that funny. We'll be able to not suck like a lot of other Digimon Abridgers out right now. And it just sort of... This was like early Abridged days. Like,
okay, this isn't like now where I know of at least like 3 good Digimon.
No. This was back when everyone was crap.
Okay.
Like this was like when I was still using iMovie This was back when I was a shitty editor.
Ooh.
Yeah. So, but Coffin and Pyro came to us. It's like, hey, we're doing Digimon. I was like, okay, can I edit?
Yes.
The original plan was like, Redbeast, we'll have you on the visual effects. We'll find another editor to do the other, just like base edits. And while they were looking for the editor, they just get a message. Hey guys, I edited episode 1. Can we do more now? It's like, God damn it, why are you like this?
So the plan initially for Digimon is basically what Pyro's plan for Kenichi is right now, which was.
Yeah, it absolutely is.
For those of you who don't know, I'm supposed to be doing the main editing on that whenever it finally gets like scripted, and I'm not like rushing him or anything. It's fine. And then Redbeast is gonna handle the VFX.
Yeah.
So I guess like that was kind of the blueprint for this project, I suppose.
Yeah. The only problem is I got too overzealous and impatient. I was like,
I just did it.
I want this.
You didn't ask. Did you even ask that? You just did it.
I just did it. I was like, hey guys, I did this. So if you want to get going on that, and the response was, God damn it, why you like this? So I just decided
Fair.
I'm editor now.
I am the editor now. From Archmage Tolvan on Twitter. How? Where do you find the willpower and patience?
Oh man, stubbornness. This actually might be interesting dive into my psychology, because back in the old Rama 1/2 days, I wasn't using After Effects. Instead, I was using Photoshop and an old program called ImageReady. Anyone remember ImageReady? You probably
No, I've literally never heard of that.
Okay, and you will never hear of it again because since then it's been absorbed into Photoshop. These used to be two different programs. Photoshop was just photos, but in ImageReady you can go frame by frame and do edits. So it was like an in-between point between Photoshop and After Effects.
I see.
So basically what I'd be doing is, hey, I want to give this character a black eye. I go into ImageReady and frame by frame paint in a black eye. Uh-oh, one frame is different than the others. Gotta redraw that. So basically it was like making a Walt Disney cartoon, but I had no artistic skill, so everything sucked.
That's like what I do now.
Well, yeah, but you're an artist. You actually know what the fuck you're doing.
I guess that's fair.
But at one point, I don't remember what it was, but we had this really funny joke, but it involved a visual effect I just couldn't do. And everyone on the team was sad and disappointed because we had to rewrite it, and it was amazing. And I was like, never again. I was like, okay, I'm getting better at this. I don't want this situation to happen again. If we have a funny joke, I want us to put it in. So I just decided to step my game up, and I was like, all right, I now have
the super editor who will do everything ever.
Everything the hard way. Hey guys, check it out. For our 5-year anniversary, I got a 3D model. It's going in.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
From EagleABurger on Twitter, what are your passions beyond abridging?
Oh, I'm actually a martial artist. I've studied Taekwondo and Bagua. I'm very passionate about that. Funny enough, abridging helped me discover production as a whole, and I've just been enjoying being a part of video production. I'm one of the few people in abridging that was able to find a career through it. I've done freelance video editing for Verizon Files on Sports. Like I mentioned, I did the independent film. But I've also been fortunate enough to do work at NBC Sports, where I've done some live games. I've done Notre Dame, and I've also worked the Olympics down in Rio. I was in the States.
Jesus.
I was in the States for that. I didn't actually go to Rio, but those were some of the harshest 2 weeks of my life.
I imagine. The Olympics is a pretty fucking big production.
Yeah, and I had no days off.
Yeah, that sounds shitty, but it sounds about right.
The pay was worth it.
That's fair.
I'm also a gamer, but I'd have to say my two big passions are martial arts and production as a whole.
All right. From StormSage13 on Twitter, what's your favorite color?
Fuck you, bro. That's my twin. Follow him on Twitter. Make him feel uncomfortable.
Good.
Fucking red.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I was expecting you to say a joke color and then scream about it actually being red, but that works also.
Fuck off. Yeah, of all the questions you could have asked me, of all the jokes, you went with that one. I'm disappointed in you. If you ever have Storm on here, tell him I'm disappointed in him.
Don't worry. You'll be able to send me the question that says this isn't a question, but I'm disappointed in you.
Oh, I know exactly why I'm not going to ask him.
From Keek1730 on Twitter, how do you feel about the abridging community as a whole?
That's actually a weird question for me, because when I first started, I wasn't integrated heavily into it. Like, I mostly just kept to myself because of shy introvertedness, and I didn't know how to fucking use Skype back in the day. But, like, through people like Coffin and Twitter, I started getting into the Abridged communities, and most of the people there I like. I got to meet some very cool and fun people. Like, I think most of the people in the Abridged community are amazing. Like, there's a few people that take certain things too seriously. That's like, there can only be one true version of this series Abridged. I was like, calm the fuck down. Like, there's so many different tastes in comedy. There can be more than one version to facilitate that need in that taste in comedy.
Right. And that's something I've always felt, too. Like, as long as you're not doing exactly what somebody else is doing, there's no reason why there can't be more than one show.
I mean, for example, back in my original series, which was my first series was Rurouni Kenshin Abridged, and I remember getting this comment like, if I'm not happy with how you guys do Saito, I'm making my own. And my reply was make your own anyway, dude. This is fun.
Do it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Like, literally, there's room in this world for more than one version. I mean, my version's not the definitive one. There's the official version. Go make your own. This is fun.
Yeah, and like even how you said you started out kind of like alone, I resonate with that too, because like when I first started, like, God, that was probably like 3 or 4 years ago now. Like nobody knew me and I didn't know anybody. I kind of just made videos.
Dude, it took me 10 years.
Yeah, and like it's just, I guess before now, like I feel now it's a lot easier to get ingratiated into the community.
Yeah, now
we have this platform here, the Abridgers Lounge, where
now it's
you can just join and hit up people. But like when I first started, I wasn't on Twitter. I was only kind of on Facebook. I had a YouTube channel, but I was like, I've always been like, I don't really feel like I deserve to talk to the people that at least like now I get to talk to, because like who am I? I'm nobody.
I mean, yeah, you're absolutely right. Back in the day, it was really, you only had YouTube to find and meet these people. Only later did the Abridged forum come out. Then there was AbLo. You're absolutely right. It used to be a lot harder to meet these people. You had to like personal message them and just like keep communication. Had to friend them on Skype. There was all these different ways. Like one of the only ways I was able to keep in contact with one of my voice actresses was through Facebook.
Ooh, that's rough.
Yeah.
And that, like, when I first started out, I didn't have any. When you first start out, it's rough because you don't have any connections and you have to make those. Like, in my first 3 episodes, I did all of the voices for an all-female cast of the show because I didn't know anybody. And that's why Second Cycle happened, because I was like, this is garbage, I want to do better.
Oh, dude, I know the feeling. Back when we did Rurouni Kenshin, I was the voice of Karu. Oh, boy. Never again. Never again.
Yeah, so I guess, like, overall, you feel like the Abridged community is good.
Yeah, I feel as though the Abridged community is a fairly positive place. In all communities, there's always room for improvement, but I think it's better than what it used to be.
Yeah, for sure. I wasn't around for the, like, wars that went on in the bridging back in the day, but it sounds like it was pretty shit, and it sounds like things are a lot better now.
I was small fry back in those days, so I didn't mess with anyone. No one messed with me.
I was no fry, so I didn't even know that these things were happening.
I didn't even know the wars were serious. I thought, oh hey, everyone's just making these joke wars. Wait, what? You mean there's actual animosity going on? What the fuck?
No, people were genuinely upset.
What the fuck? Like I only recently realized. Wait, you mean people were actually starting fights? What the fuck?
Shit was cray-cray back in ye old days of yore.
Oh man, the dark ages of 2009.
That wasn't even that long ago, if you think about it.
Shut up! You make me feel old.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I'm kidding.
I'll do better. From Dusty Socks on Twitter, can you say "oh" for me?
Oh.
Perfect. And final question from the Schmuck Squad on Twitter.
Oh God, no! What they do?
Why are you like this?
Yes. Why are any of us like this? Also, I'm like this so you can have your episodes of Akame and Digimon. I'm like this so you can have entertainment. Also, my chair can now recline backwards. I can fucking sleep at my computer. Everybody wins.
All right. Well, it's getting late, and I think 13 rounds of straight vodka is enough, so it's time for our last call.
Nice.
This is the part of the show where you just kind of, talk about yourself, project you're in, that kind of thing. I know you've got your fingers in a lot of pies.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God. Yeah. Most commonly, I'm doing work for Abridgiplex on Noragami Abridged and Durarara Abridged. For Abridgilliance, I do Digimon Abridged. For the Schmuck Squad, I edit Akame Kill Abridged. I'm helping out Disaster on his Fairy Tail Abridged. And you might be able to see me working with the Hawk Abridged in the near future on a fun little project that I'm not sure if I'm allowed to tease or not. And of course, you can always follow me on Twitter at Redbeast13, and just follow Pyro. Chances are, if he's making a project, I'm gonna be in it.
Yeah, you kind of seem like his go-to guy. Which
Yeah.
is, you know, I think that speaks well of your talent.
Thank you. It speaks. It speaks well of my inability to say no.
Also fair. Thank you for joining me tonight, Redbeast. I have been superninja5506. You can find me at superninja5506 on Twitter or my channel at magicabridged on Twitter. You can find my channel at youtube.com/c/magicabridged. If you want to follow the Abridgers Lounge, you can find it at Abridgers Lounge on Twitter or subscribe to this channel. Have you ever wanted to get started in abridging or in abridging now and want to hang out with other abridgers? Feel free to join our Discord channel, where we help new people find their feet, offer critique, and cry silently into bowls of fatty foods wondering where our lives went wrong. There's a link to that Discord in the description below. Thanks, everybody, and please join me next time in the lounge. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.